To sign or not to sign. If we sign him, he can become everything that we hope and dream. He could lead our team to glory in the Champions League and beyond. I don't really know where beyond is from that, but beyond anyhow. Or it could be terrible. Fail to achieve the goals we expect him to reach in his attributes. Flop miserably. Waste millions of hard-earned dollars. Take the club's atmosphere and leave us a ruined wreck. The choice is mine. Well, that's a lot of responsibility. Hi, my name's Zealand. Welcome to Football Manager. See, I was streaming on Twitch today, like I do 4 days a week. Follow me on the link down in the description if you want to hang out with me live, ask me questions, and so on. And I realized that there was something that I just haven't made a video talking about yet. That moment you just saw was me trying to figure out whether I should sign a guy or not. And I'm not talking about the obvious, like, this guy's amazing, let's sign him, or this guy's terrible, let's not sign him. I'm talking about the people that are in the middle. And it really comes down to one or two things, and you're like, okay, should I sign them or not? Are they going to make my team better or not? I've never talked about this. I think it's time that I do that. But go ahead and follow me on Instagram and Twitter before we do that. Just because. Right. Anyways, so I finished the stream. I went, wow, I should shoot this video today. So I sat down for about 2 hours and figured out how I wanted to structure the video, because I'm me, and that's what I do. I have an idea. We are going to go through my shortlist with Bate Borisov, the team that this moment happened with, and we are going to look at the players I have not signed and the players that I have, and why I did that. Geez, Elon, that took you 2 hours? Well, I mean, I actually mapped the whole thing out, wrote some script pieces too. You don't know my life. An outrage! It's hardwood. This is just a terrible idea. We'll just let that rest up there. Let's go into the game, shall we? We're going to be filling 2 bins. We've got our ding! Yes bin, and then, hold on. Our no bin over here. So let's put some names in these 2 things. This is the guy that we were looking at on stream, and I had my delightful moment of pause. Now, I realize for the vast majority of teams in the world, this guy is a no-brain signing if you have the money. There are a few things that I want you to take stock of when you are making a transfer decision. Okay, number 1, I want you to think of transfers as value added and value lost. How much value are you giving up in order to add this player into your team? His release clause is set at $18.25 million. Now, this is actually less than 10% of my transfer budget. It's about 9... No, that's a lie. It's 14%. I love math, so he's 14% of my transfer budget. That's not the only piece of value that's important, because as Bate Borisov, my transfer budget does not simply just replenish every year. I make $200,000 for winning my league in Belarus. So replenishing that is a direct relation to me selling players. I get my money from selling players I don't need anymore. So I can create a separate relation in terms of how much money I'm spending on Ananias and how much money or how much value it costs me to get that $18.25 million. Let's look at my last sale. Not my last just everyman sale. My last big chunk sale was on August 20th, so about 4 months ago. I sold Daniel Jimenez to Roma for $70 million. So signing Ananias for $18.25 million is basically... I don't want to do the math again. You get the idea. It's like less than 30% of a Daniel Jimenez sale. So then what I'm trying to determine while I'm looking at Ananias is if he is worth being 30% of the profit I made from the sale of Daniel Jimenez. To do this, I'm going to need to create another section, not just the added value and subtracted value, but positional worth in my team. So positional worth. Ananias is a center back. Now, this is a position that I do not believe I have a single bona fide world-class player at. I've got like the 5th and 6th best center backs from Argentina on my team. Neither of them are particularly world-class, but Ananias has a chance to be world-class. Now, this is my scout's appraisal, but my scout is a 2020, so I put a ton of trust in this. Keep in mind that, especially when you're acquiring players through transfers and not trials, where you're already getting a look at them at your club and you can see them and everything, that your scout is at least someone that is trustworthy. Anybody above 13 and 14, I think, is going to give you a fairly accurate representation of what somebody will be capable of in the future. So you have to have a point in your mind where you see a trigger that you go, this guy's going to be worth a significant amount of value because I know that he's worth it. Not every time, but I know that this is a person I need to look at intently. Now, typically this is going to be like a current ability threshold that you're going to want to clear. Now that we've established that the value we would need to answer in order for him to come in, the positional value for me is a big fat check. And what I was just talking about, the threshold, whatever threshold he meets that is going to help push my team to the next level, because I'm not actively searching for somebody to plug a hole. I didn't lose a player that I then need to replace. I am looking to advance my team one way or another. He is not a natural center back, but he will never have the technical quality at the level of my team to be able to play fullback. The only reason I'm still considering him is because, at this point in the process, he's very athletic for a center back. He's on the young side, July birthday, and it's December of 18, and he's already exceptionally athletic. He's going to get a lot more athletic, especially for a center back, and he's not too short to completely disqualify him from the position, so he'll be able to play that higher line. He also plays, if you hover over this dot, naturally on the left, which is something I am lacking in my 3 first-team level center backs. The plus side is that he is a balanced technical defender. He doesn't have deficiencies in marking or tackling. He is balanced across both, and with planned development, considering his very young age and high potential, he will probably get into my range as green, which would be 16, the default game. He could get into that range in marking and tackling, and is likely to if his development goes according to plan. His outliers are teamwork, work rate, and concentration, which are all incredibly important for center back, and that teamwork rating helps balance out his positioning rating, which is terrible because those two work in tandem to help them set up in the right spot, cooperating with the back line. The work rate makes his athleticism even more impressive, and the rest of his intelligence doesn't have any huge gaps in terms of the things that are going to affect his ability to defend. So he's a very attractive candidate, especially for less than half of the cost that I got for Daniel Jimenez. But when we go through and click on the pros and cons, there are 2 issues, and there is a way that I'm planning on addressing them. He is not a very adaptable individual. For those that don't know what this Suke is, adaptability. You might struggle living in a new country. If it's red, it's a serious problem. If it's orange, it's a problem. If it's red, it's a serious problem, and you'd want it to be deep green over here, like teamwork. The red means that when he moves to a country, it will take him longer to start development. He is more likely to fall off and get worse before he gets better. There is something you can do to combat that. I have a large collection of Brazilian staff in my team. I have a Brazilian player, Diogo Jefferson, who's already on my team. So when this guy gets here, I will have multiple Portuguese speakers that are able to take him under their wing. They're already part of the team, and they will help make him part of the team and lessen the impact of his bad hidden attribute and, a hidden attribute rating and adaptability. The other is that he might have problems with injuries. If you want to see how serious this is, you can go up to history and injuries. It will show you all the injuries they've had in their career. My guy has some problems with his knee ligaments and his hamstrings, but as long as we keep the training load light on him, this is never something that puts me off too much, because with a light training load and proper match management, he will not have to deal with this. When you don't pay attention to it, it can bite you. The final piece of the puzzle was the wage. And the wage demands for Ananias were breakthrough prospect level wages, which means that he goes firmly into the yes bin. He wasn't the cleanest signing we've ever made, but we did decide to go through with it because I think he's going to add a lot to the team. Now let's look at somebody that we didn't decide to go through with, even though they met the same threshold as our boy Ananias. Remember the threshold being the number of stars scouted by my best scout and potential, the people that'll take our team to the next level? Right. Now I have known who Leo Guerrero is since he was 18 years old. I have had the money to sign Leo Guerrero since he was 19 years old. I have not done so. He clears the first threshold. Obviously, he meets a point where this guy would help improve our team according to the scouts. Then we go to positional need. It's not just positional need, it's what type of player is this person? Because you can have a winger, but you can have Arjen Robben, right? You can have Alphonso Davies. You could have James, where he's completely unathletic, but he can play on the wing for sure. He's natural. These are completely different types of players. The problem for Leo Guerrero is I already have this dude like 3 times over. Well, he has 2 problems, but first is this positional thing. This is a burner. Leo Guerrero is a burner. He is meals on wheels, speed for days, a man beater. Man beater. Got 15 dribbling, he's got the technique, he's got the flair, he's got the incredible quickness. His speed is okay. His quickness, off the charts. He is not a great goal scorer. He's not a particularly great crosser of the ball. He's got some pretty good passing, and that would allow him to play very aggressively, perhaps in center midfield. If I'd gotten a hold of him at 17, 18 and turned him into a Metsala, he would be great. He'd be able to make an impact. Advanced playmakers, even better. But when you look at my team, I already have him. I have Laureano Valentini. I just signed Diogo Jefferson, who does a lot of the same stuff. I have His Eminence Yarlin Estrada, who for the record is a much better goal scorer to boot. I have Lachazar Stoyanov, who like Jefferson before him is also much younger than Guerrero and will catch up to him over time. Not only that, Stoyanov is a very good crosser. So when we come back and look at my boy Leo, I don't think I need him. I don't think at this point, as we've watched him develop for 2 years, he actually has as high potential as is being appraised, and he is less and less likely to reach it every day. That means we take Leo Guerrero and we just throw him into the no bin. But now it's time for the one that will tip the scales, our mystery third contestant, a fella named Diogo Henrique. I forked out $34 million for Diogo Henrique, and you're sitting there and you're going, why? Why did you do that? I am trying to build the best team I possibly can, and so are you. And sometimes you run into a player where you're able to assess where their attributes are, you're able to assess what kind of potential they are being appraised as, and what, how their makeup is, how they've developed over 6 months of scouting, and you're able to say, this guy's going to be better than anyone I have. And when I look at Diogo Henrique, this guy's going to be better than anyone I have. He is on the very young side of 19. Birthday in August, so he's got most of his age 19 year left. He's got an insane amount of improvement left. I sent my best scout and literally said that he's got potentially all the way to 5-star potential. And I see the athleticism that he already has, which if you just tick all of those athletic stats up, I said stats. They're attributes. I don't care, but other people care. So they are attributes. Linguistically. Not only is he a guy that just absolutely eviscerates people on the gallop. I mean, he's got 17 dribbling and this kind of athleticism and plenty of creativity to go around. He is a remarkably composed goal scorer who is going to have 16 technique at least in no time, and his crossing will get to 13 or 14 with heavy crossing training throughout the rest of his career, making him an unbelievably lethal wing player, who will no doubt at some point be one of the best wingers in the world. This puts Diogo Henrique into the yes bin. As you just saw with Diogo Henrique, I'm almost arguing against myself in this scenario. And when you look at Leo Guerrero, there are arguments, and I'm sure some of you will have these in the comments, where you say, well, why haven't you signed this guy? He will bring a lot to your team. And I would counter with, yeah, I've got great youth facilities. The younger I can get them, the better. And I think I can turn Diogo Enrique into a much better player than Leo Guerrero is, and he just never clicked in the right way. Also, take stock in personalities. That's just a separate note, but I didn't mention it in this video, and I should. If they have a better personality, the more likely I am to sign them. It's almost directly proportionate. Don't be scared away by bad ones. Remember, fickle isn't necessarily a bad one because it has high ambition, or it indicates high ambition. And the reason that this video was made the way that it was is because this is an inexact science. Every team is unique. What types of players do you need? Notice how when I'm looking for the center back, I go, well, we play with our line is higher, so he needs to be faster to cover the distance, and I'm looking for a specific type of player, where for other teams, Ananias is positionless. He won't do anything for you. The beauty is in the inexact science, and this is honestly, truthfully, my favorite part of the game is finding and deciding who to sign and building these teams to win the way I know they can win. So make the value equation in your head. This goes all the way down to you being a semi-pro team and saying, okay, we've got this much money, and where did this money come from, and how much of our wage budget are we spending, and is he worth it to bring this guy in to what that guy is going to add to your team in the short term. And the smaller club you are, the more short term you need to think. And then in the long term, then trust yourself. Don't be scared to spend a lot of money if you're spending it right. It's what it's there for. Don't run yourself into bankruptcy. I see that in the comments. But once you think you're right, and you go, this guy's going to add to my team. He's either replacing somebody we lost or going to push us to the next level. Don't hesitate. Every day wasted's a day lost from that point on. Good luck. Have fun. Much love from the FM Senpai. I'll see you around. I need a burrito or something. Johnson for Gile. Johnson. Tway. It's a lovely through ball for Oscar. Oscar's on the gallop here. He's gone for Kamara! Oh, Liberia!